Well, good evening. You're very welcome to Inside Line Racing, the return of Inside Line Racing for 2019. Happy New Year to you. I hope you had a good holiday, whenever you celebrate. We're back for more exciting racing here in ILR6 for round number 12 at Hungary. So, should be an interesting race. 35 laps will all be ahead of us to come after this qualifying session at a track where pole position and track position is so key. So whoever can stamp their authority in qualifying can certainly give themselves a good chance into the race then for this one. I think Alex, there's a couple of drivers starting on laps already, so we'll stick with Alex and kind of bring you back up to speed with where things stand in the championship, because it's actually been a very exciting title fight going on in ILR6. It's been fun to watch it develop as the season has gone on. It is... Oh, we've got a car out already. That's Judge. Where has he lost it? I'd possibly venture to guess coming out of turn possibly 4 as the laps begin to fly in. So, anyways, we'll go on board with... we'll stick with Smudge for the time being as he starts his flying lap as we go over the standings. So it is John, or under his new PSN name, and he's just on the fastest lap of the race right on cue, or of qualifying, ILRT Johnny, of course, with the ILR team that is going on, so he's changed his name. He's leading the way, is John, 146 points. He is 13 points clear of Smudge in second. Antatak is in third, 130 points, so he's 16 points back, and then a little bit further back, adrift of that, is Danskar, who lost out some ground in that last race, finishing 8th in Germany. He is on 123 points, 23 points behind John, but that certainly is... we've seen John come back from such a margin. It is not impossible for Danskar to do the same, but he needs to get himself on track with a good result here at Hungary, and he's got John to displace from pole position if he wants to do that. In the constructors' standings, it is Haas leading the way on 219 points there, convincingly ahead of McLaren in second on 156 points. In third are Force India on 131, and then, or 41 I should say, and then 134 points is Red Bull in fourth. So a little bit of close battle there. So a lot of people looking at the ultra soft tyre, which would suggest to me that the race is indeed wet, because really the ultra soft, because this track at Hungary, there is a skip in the step of compound, so it goes ultra softs and then to softs, and then I believe it's medium. So, but it does skip a compound, which means there is no point. Well, look, you can choose to prioritize track position, but the reality is you're really going to struggle in the race with tires and strategy if you start on the ultra. So, given how everyone, apart from Murdoch, who's just beginning his stint or beginning qualifying on a set of softs, not to say of course he won't end it on ultras, that would to me suggest that we are looking at a wet race. So that'll be interesting to see. Let's see how that develops. Baza is on mediums. That's an interesting choice from Baza, at least to begin. I've lost all sense of tracking who's where. Plays, looks like he's not on a lap at the moment. A couple of other bits of housekeeping. Jack is a reserve in the Ferrari. 2 Jacks in the Ferrari. So Team Ferrari, Team Jack. Let's hope they'll be hoping for a good set of points here. We'll see what happens. At the moment, again, the 2 title contenders, John and Smudge, 4 tenths between them, at least on pace in qualifying at the moment. So John, it's early, it's very early, but John looking like he's got the upper hand at the moment, as he has done, to be fair, over the last few races. Like, he's won, is it 3 or 4 in a row? It's 3 in a row he's won, and 4 of the last 5. So John is on a great run of results ever since, well, he's been on it really, but Spain and Monaco were the beginning of the turning points for him, and obviously he's just gone on a crazy run since. So he is the man to beat. He is definitely the man in form, and he is the man on provisional pole at the moment. Can anyone do anything about it? As Fernandez taking an excursion off the track at turn 4, a corner where it is so easy to invalidate your lap. He's going to be careful how he gets back onto that track, because it's quite narrow. If you haven't noticed, it's a very narrow track, and that is a corner cut and a half. from Baza. Where's Ant? Ant is just starting a lap by the looks of it. One of the few not to set a time yet, and well, there are some tracks where you can qualify lowly and you can make up for it in the race. Hungary can be a tough one, but of course, if the race is indeed wet, it's gonna be, I think, opportunities will be aplenty. So for Ant, even if he started at the very back, so we'll see how it goes. That is Plays on his way in. Danskar has himself in fourth at the moment. Again, everyone on Ultrasoft's bar Baza at the moment. So McLaren looking well so far in this session. We'll go back on board with Ant, encountering a little bit of traffic in the form of Plays as he ends the lap, and runs very, very wide. Was he affected by that McLaren? Did that screw up his lap? Let's see where he can push it. He's really struggling for turning on that car, and despite that does a 17.5, which puts him up into 8th place. So difficult end to the lap for Ant. Looks like Plays is going to go on another lap though, so let's see what Plays can do on the second lap of Ultrasofts, which is unusual because the life in the Ultras is not terribly long, and I wonder if there'll be some gamesmanship going on between Ant and Plays. No, Ant does move out of the way, and Pro Opa is out of the race. A yellow flag through. Oh, there he is. He's binned it where Felipe Massa binned it in 2016 in qualifying, I believe, in the wet. So the exit of turn 4 and the run up then to turn 5. Lose the back end out of turn 4. High speed left-hander is easy to, yeah, the car can get away from you, especially if you're on 8 ballast. That can be a difficult one indeed. Not a ton else going on. Well, Ant, I assume he's on an in lap. There's 8 minutes left. John is back out on track. Smudge is back out on track. What can Plays do? He's just narrowly ahead of Smudge, and he's going to come in, so he's abandoning that lap. And Jack put himself up into 4th on the Ultras, as everyone else is, of course. 16.6 for Jack, puts himself up into 4th ahead of Danskar and Big Metza and Alex for that matter, and Liliart, so and so a lot of quick drivers he's put himself ahead of. Speaking of Liliart, he is just rounding the final corner, beginning a lap, as is Alex. So we're getting, I think a lot of people are focusing and we're gearing up to the second runs now in qualifying. A lot of guys just starting their laps. We've got Smudge and John on their out laps. Baza is he's got a lot of, he's used a lot of his ERS. Is he just limping to get back to the pits, or is he on a lap? Rob is just coming across the line, the sister Red Bull, to start a lap. It's a difficult season for Rob. Ooh, very, very wide was Morris. And he comes across the line and puts in a 17.4 and moves himself up ahead of Ant into 9th place. His teammate is in 3rd and is just starting a lap. Alex is on a lap now, so who's furthest in front of this lot? Smudge is just beginning a lap, and so is John. So I think we'll stick with Alex. I think he's the furthest forward on a lap at the moment in the Haas. Running away with the constructors as things stand. How does he take this turn 12? Just 14 turns on this track, unless the map I've been looking at has been lying to me. Again, a lot of people seem to be struggling through these last 2 corners, where they just understeer or just go too far wide, just struggling for turning. Of course, you can possibly attribute that, as Alex has a 16.4 to put himself up into 2nd. You could possibly attribute that to the fact that some people, if the race is indeed wet, which I'm going to guess it is at this stage, that there is wet setups had in this session, and then that obviously compromises how everything looks in qualifying. So as Rob retires from the session, Smudge is backed off this lap. Where is John? He is coming around to turn 12. Let's see how he takes these last 2 turns. Sticks nice and tight to turn 13. Use a bit of the curb on exit, nice and wide in the entrance to 14. Just a little bit hesitant on the throttle on exit, but he is going to... No, he hasn't improved. It's a 16 flat, but it's not quicker than the first lap he set, 16:035. So there's still time to come back in and out again for another flying lap to have a look at improving on that time. Alex has gone for a second run. Can he find any improvements on his lap? I think he will, and he does. 16:1 for Alex. He cements himself into P2 for the time being, but cannot displace his teammate who is sitting on provisional pole at the time being. I think he could be even going for another lap. We'll find out in a minute, or a few seconds. A bit wide though on the exit. I believe that's turn 10. Let's see. Ooh, just misses the apex slightly into 12. When they come into the pits, he's going to finish the lap. So let's see what happens. Plays is up into third, just ahead of Smudge. They've jumped ahead of Jack as Smudge has gone a provisional pole, 15.7, and John does a 15.9. So Smudge has responded, and convincingly at this stage ahead of John, 2/10 ahead of his title contender. Again, both set that time on the second lap of their Ultra Softs. That's important to note as well. So it's not just Smudge setting them on the first lap, and John possibly got his first lap wrong, but did improve in the second. So trading blows, the two title contenders, the two ILRTs. Good to see so far. Alex did improve as well, 16.1 obviously, as we mentioned before, but there's a bit of a gap towards Plays and the rest after that. Plays just on an out lap, I believe, getting ready for the start of his lap. His teammate looks to be in a similar boat. Though sole Renault representative today, Big Metza, on track at the moment in 8th place. I thought Metza could be capable of a bit more, but of course there's still time. There's 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes to go in this session, and the leaders are in, and they'll have plenty of time to come back out again and set at least one more lap, should they feel the need to, and I'd imagine they will, because pole position here is important, especially heading into what could possibly be something as unpredictable as a wet race. Big Metza rounds the final corner. Seems to take that quite nicely, to be fair, and puts himself up into second. So splitting the title contenders is Big Metza on those ultras, 15.9. So we're finally seeing times into the 15s by a couple of drivers now, and look at that, just 4 thousandths ahead of John in third. So good lap there from Metza, and Smudge will be hoping that he can stay there. That Renault can stay there in second, but plenty of time for things to play out. The two McLarens, as mentioned, on their outlaps. Plays is coming towards the end of his. He's basically at this stage. This is the end of the road almost for Plays, this and next lap, because he won't have enough time to get back in and out again. And he does improve, but it's not an improvement on his position. Still in 5th place, half a second now ahead of Jack and further ahead of his teammate. But can his teammate respond as he rounds the final 2 corners? Plays will have enough time for a recovery lap if his tyres will give him another flying lap. But here is Danskar, and he does improve, but not ahead of his teammate. He only rises to 6th, and he's still 4 tenths behind his teammate in 5th, so not good for Danskar. John is back out on track, and Metza won't get another run, so he'll be done, as we mentioned before. And Smudge is going to be content with his lap. He's not going to have enough time to come out and set a lap. So John looks like if something is to change in the top 2, it will be from John. And has got himself up to 10th, but he's still a long way back. He's 1.3 seconds off the pace of Smudge. So that's not good news for Ant, who has been the title contender, well, a title contender for pretty much all of this season, and was the early benchmark, but has recently seen his challenge come undone somewhat. Tough races like Silverstone haven't helped either, as well as the form of John. Just 30 seconds remaining in the session. Oh, beautiful corner cut there from Baza on the Ultra Softs now. So again, everyone on Ultras can only assume it's a wet race. His teammate Murdoch. Generally speaking, there's not been a lot to separate these two this season. They've kind of been they've been around the same positions and the same bits of track and qualifying. The race, things have happened here and there, but generally speaking, they have been quite close together. So fitting, of course, that they start the new year identical in a way. Checker flag is out. Morris Minor is out as well. So now these laps then are the finale. Baza moves ahead of his teammate, who's now bearing down on the main straight himself, and takes that place right back. 300ths of a second between the two. They are fun to watch, those two, I have to say. Oh, and Plays is off the track. Well, that's his lap scuppered. Where is John? John is making his way through Sector 2. Who else? Is it getting close to the end of a lap? Ant is there, but Ant is in the pits, and Plays has a penalty for a collision. Was that with Liliart? Possibly. Where is John? Here we go. This is what we need to focus on. John rounding the final corner. He's got Big Metza between him and Smudge. Can he take pole position at the death? No! He cannot. 15.795 for John. He's almost a tenth off of Smudge, but does put himself onto the front row of the grid. And that's a big one for John to clear Metza in qualifying. Of course, the race start is a different story. But he could not displace Smudge from pole position, I think, as Plays enters the pits with that grid penalty now in hand. That will wrap up qualifying at the Hungarian. It looked like it was going to be John for pretty much for a lot of the session, but Smudge found a way to respond. So interesting stuff. By the way, I will get to it. We'll get to it in a sec. I'm not one for spoilers. So it is Smudge on pole position ahead of John there, a fair bit ahead of the rest of the field. Big Metza in third, Alex fourth, Plays in fifth with that penalty, Liliart sixth, good qualifying from Liliart, Danskar seventh, Jack in eighth, Morris Minor 10th, and Antatak picked himself up a 5-place grid penalty as well, so that's not good for Ant. Murdoch 11th, Baza 12th, Jacko 13th, Rob 14th, Fernandez 15th, Daziek 16th, the Judge 17th, and Pro Opa in 18th to round off the grid. So, interesting race ahead. If you're wondering in the YouTube comments, by the way, Jack is racing as a reserve for the rest of the season. So, just point that out. It is a wet race, and to be honest, I knew it was a wet race already. I just didn't want to spoil it. So I did know it was a wet race the whole way through. So do not fear. I knew this already. So then, strategy goes out the window basically, because I believe sources whisper in my ear that it is a full wet race. I'm joking, no one's whispering in my ear, but we'll see how it goes. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be quite a long one, I'd imagine. 35 laps. Hopefully we get some good racing here, but is anyone bold enough to take the as we start the formation lap? Everyone obviously on the full wets. I was hoping that we might get one on the inters just for the laugh, but look at that, absolutely saturated. This is what some drivers wanted, to be fair. Some people really wanted the wet race. So, well, you got what you wished for, if this is any indication. So, see what we can do. These are the kind of races that define seasons in many ways. We've seen many, in real life F1, we've seen many championships derailed by accidents in the wet. Fernando Alonso in Japan 07 comes to mind, second last race of the season. Mark Webber in Korea, I believe, also in 2010. That got away from him. These kind of things, they do rack up, they do matter, and obviously this is much earlier than either of those two incidents, but the principle is the same. An incident for, say, Smudge at the front here. Now obviously John has other title contenders on behind him other than Smudge, but that would be a big blow to Smudge to lose that ground. But like Danskar, for example, Danskar is the one that really can't afford a bad result here. He's already on the fringes, he's 23 points behind, form isn't on his side, and a bad result today and a good one for the likes of John and Smudge. And we'll see what Ant can do from P15. That would certainly spell, well, not doom, but would spell disaster for his title hopes. And just at the end, of course, gotta get a few disqualifications in on the formation lap. To be fair, I'm surprised they're not more. It is the first race back after the holidays. So Smudge though leads them round, and when he sets off again he will be beginning the race. The charge down to turn 1, 35 laps await ahead of him in difficult conditions. Going to be difficult conditions for them all. Let's see who rises to the occasion. What can John do from his position? Can he further his lead in the championship? What can Ant do from 15th? We shall find out now as the lights will go on board with Big Metza for a good view, at least to get off the line. 5 red lights, and away we go. That looks like a good start for Smudge. He's going to pull away, and it's a Ferrari pulling off to the side. I believe that is Jack, possibly not one to get involved, but looks like a very good start for Smudge. He'll surely be uncontested into turn 1. Alex and Metza getting close for comfort into turn 1 as well. And Big Metza looks like he's got the move done, but Alex is still on his outside down the field. Looks like they're all fairly well behaved. The McLarens, the Mercedes have had both good starts, up to 6 and 7, so good starts for the Mercedes. The McLarens have slipped back slightly as they tiptoe their way through turns 2 and 3, and up the hill they climb for the first time. The car going slightly wide there as Ant is struggling to make his way through the field. He's got his teammate to navigate and he gets him done. Heading into turn 4, we got a yellow flag already, and Murdoch has had contact somewhere and is missing his front wing. There's a whole gaggle of cars. It is so tightly packed as they just try and feel their way for the conditions. Liliard has moved up into 4th place ahead of Alex, so he's taken advantage early on. There's a big gap of forming already near the front. 2 seconds already, Liliard and Big Metza. Oh, Liliard got himself onto the grass a bit on the AstroTurf, and he's managed to catch the spin and save the car from heading into the wall. And he's only lost, what, 2 places out of all that, so he is lucky not to lose an awful lot more than that good car control from Liliard to avoid certain disaster, as he's still fighting his way with Plays for 6th place. So good racing here. Can Plays not quite able to squeeze our way through turn 14. Murdoch into the pits, possibly not surprisingly given that wing damage to Liliard and Baza. So having survived the onslaught from Plays, Liliard trying to have a go at Baza, trying to use the switch back, and Plays is there as well, and Danskar and Jacko having at it as well. The battle for P8, so some good action early on here. And Plays and Liliard and Baza, they're not quite 3 wide, but it is so hard to approximate space in the wet when there's 3 cars like that basically. Oh, Liliard's got a toe onto the grass, and that's going to allow Plays. Can he do it around the outside? Liliard let that one go. So playing with fire slightly, Liliard here is, he is early on, if I could speak English. And he's got the other McLaren. Oh, he's still in contact, and that's again knocked Liliard into a half spin. And again, Liliard lucky not to be facing the wrong direction in that way. He's been battered all around in these early stages, and again that little bit of contact, he's just lost a bit of ground to Plays, who was all over the back of Baz, and Big Metza all over the back of Smudge. He's got by John, and he is all over the back of that Force India. What can he do? As Danskar and Liliard are going as well as Ant and Probe are going to stick with this battle at the front though. Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. We're going to stick with this for the time being though. Will Big Meta go for a move for the lead? No, he tucks back in. But he just looks so much more comfortable in the wet in these conditions than Smudge at the moment. And Plays and Baza. And Plays gets that move done. Plays then up into 5th, and he's got 2 seconds ahead of him to Alex, and there's 6 seconds separating Alex from John, Smudge and Metza, and goes wide, does Smudge, and that allows Metza to just nip through, and Big Metza takes the lead of the race. On lap 3 from 3rd, he has just looked so comfortable in the wet, and Smudge is not looking comfortable as he gets a toe on the grass heading up into the chicane. And I wonder now, how quickly will he be feeling the pressure from John in 3rd? Will Big Metza just run away with this now? We'll find out. Lap 3 of 35. Just, I think you're seeing the difference between some drivers choosing wet versus dry setups. Smudge does not look comfortable at all. Just needs to settle down in the car, find some sort of rhythm, and find a way to get on top of that Force India, because he's going to be losing time if not. Oh, and Plays is off the track, and ILRGT looks like he's a little bit behind this battle too now. So I think I did see a car off the track. I think it was Williams, but the front wing of Plays is missing. That has allowed Baza and Danskar to nip through. Will he come into the pits? No, he's going to try and soldier on. It's a brave decision. Difficult conditions to be trying to carry on with a broken front wing. Look at John putting the pressure on Smudge. 1.4 seconds now. He is behind Big Metza and Danskar and Baza. Ooh, little bit of argy-bargy, and the back end just stepping out from Danskar. He was squeezed off by Baza, to be fair, and didn't have anywhere to go, and that just snapped the oversteer. And then Baza was the victim of that. Ended up on the grass and losing the position then to Danskar's teammate Plays, who's still limping with that wing damage. Meanwhile, back at the front, where it matters, where it counts at this moment, Big Metza still holding kind of a similar lead. But look at Smudge, just the back end is just not wanting to keep in a straight line, and he's just so uncomfortable. You can just tell from this view, from John's cockpit view, and there you go then, John. It was an inevitability, wasn't it, at the end of the day? Just Smudge has not looked in any way comfortable, and he's just, whether it's the dry setup or something on that car is not working. And well, let's see how far he'll fall behind now, but he's already 3.6 behind Metza, and he's just drifting through corners. He's going to shred those tires if he can't keep on top of it. Meanwhile, there's a lot of drifting going on, let's be honest. Plays, Baza, ILRGT, they're all squabbling for P6. Of course, Danskar is allowed some breathing room here because his teammate has got wing damage, but he's got to make use of this now before the likes of Baza and ILRGT get by. Lap 5 of 35. A lot to be decided yet. No retirements, which is nice to see. Would have thought possibly first race after Christmas, in the first race of the new year, in a wet race, full wet conditions, or a difficult track like Hungary, you've expected a few retirements, but fair play to the lads so far. They're doing a great job keeping it on the track at the moment as best they can. A change for Pro Opa. Murdoch, you see, is in 14th there after his excursions early on lap 1. Oh, that's a McLaren going well and truly over the chicane. That was Danskar. And let's just see the difference. Obviously a full wing would obviously make in the wet here, but just look at from the point of view of Baza. He's trying to tiptoe his way around, and Murdoch is out. I've jinxed it. Murdoch is out. I assume he's lost it around turn 4. And Ant and Jack, oh, side by side, bit of contact. It's the battle for the final point, which Ant could use every one of those points at the moment. Again, a little bit more contact between him and Jack as they file their way through turn 13. Turn 13 closes the door a little bit aggressively on Jack there, has to be said. You can see he's underfueled the car, but a much better run for Jack before and closed the door. Now he is within slipstream, of course no DRS at this stage, and ILRGT and Baza, so Baza hasn't been able to get the move done on plays, and now ILRGT is punishing him for it. And he's going to move up into 7th place. Can he keep it? He's got the Mercedes on his outside. Morris Minor right behind this battle as well. This is good stuff here at Hungary. Got to be careful on those curbs that Morris just rode. Very easy to send the car into a spin. And a poor run out of turn 3 for Baza. Was inviting for Morris, but ultimately chose not to take it. Interesting development at the front. The gap has come down now that John has cleared Smudge and is dropping him quite convincingly. Now John looks like he is the one feeling most comfortable at this stage. He's closed the gap to just half a second on Big Metza. 3.2 seconds now ahead of Smudge, so just absolutely dropping him. But the thing for Smudge is he hasn't lost a ton of time to Alex either. So as much as Smudge was visibly struggling, hasn't lost a ton in terms of track position to everyone else. Here we go then. Oh, lovely engine glitch, really love it. But the closest that anyone's been to Big Metza since he's taken the lead. He's gone defensive. There's a car coming out of the pits as well. They have to be careful for that as well. John only knows too well what happened in France, and he's going to take this around the outside. Oh, a little bit of contact. And looks like he's got that move done. So a good move from John around the outside of turn 1. And looks like he's going to keep it. Just parking his car in the middle of the road. Not inviting Big Metza to have a lunge. So there you go then. John moves ahead of Metza for the lead of the race. And let's see now what John can do now that he has got the clear track position in front. Meanwhile, Morris has got by Baza. Baza just continuing to fall backwards. So he was on the back of Plays, who is not being punished for his lack of front wing, because look, he's now 7 seconds behind his teammate Danskar. This is doing Danskar an absolute treat. And ILRGT, again, this is the thing with Hungary, track position is so key, and if you can't get your moves done, well, a lot of problems. Oh, but there's big problems for Morris off the track. I'm not sure if he was involved with an incident with Baza there, and he's got a Ferrari down his inside into the chicane. Opportunistic from Jack, but he moves into 9th place. So mistake or a little incident for Morris just when he was about to snatch P8 from Baza. Well, it's just got away from him there, and now he's looking at 10th place at the moment. Jack on a good progression here early on. Yellow flag in sector 3. Pro Opa is out of the race. Pro Opa is running last, so disappointing for him. A few DNFs beginning to rack up now. No sign of the safety car as the field is spread out somewhat. The top 6 are fairly well spread out now at this stage. Look at John, he's already pulled 2.7 ahead of Big Metza, and that is growing. Meanwhile, Plays and Lily are having to navigate the traffic as they continue their squabble for P6. And behind them there's Baza and there's Jack for P8. And I can't imagine it'll be too much longer before Jack looks to have a move on Baza, although what we've seen from Baza so far wouldn't surprise me if he just runs wide off the track, and that'll just allow Jack nice easy path through. Ooh, look at that back end. He's got to get right off the throttle, has Jack, because if he didn't, he'd be skidding into the back of that Mercedes and with wing damage. It's a good instinctive drive in there from Jack as Mercedes takes a trip across the chicane. A lot of people have been doing that today, to be fair. And this has allowed Morris Minor to just get back into this battle now. We lost the ground obviously with that little accident, little excursion, and Jack is going to go down the inside of Baza into turn 12. Can he get the move done this time? Yes, I think he has, although not fully. Jack will have the better line, even though Baza has got the inside, and there you go, just out-tractions him basically, doesn't he? Just a better line. Swoops around the outside to complete that move, and that is Jack up into 8th. He can sell self after ILRGT in 7th, who's looking like he's got a good shot at finally getting past Plays. Dinks to the inside. Can he get the move done? Oh, close to making contact, the pair of them. And agonizingly for ILRGT, he is still stuck behind this McLaren. He is losing so much time, and his race is being heavily hampered as a result. The ceiling of his race is being hampered as a result. Can he do much more than 6th if he gets by Plays at this stage? We'll find out. Interestingly, yellow flag sector 2, I thought I saw something go off. It was Danskar. So having having his teammate play an absolute blinder for him, unintentionally of course, with that wing damage, giving them over 11 seconds between him and the cars behind. He's only gone spun it at turn 5 on the, I'm assuming, the auto spin curbs, and well, his wing is missing, and now he's going to have to make a pit stop. So that's disastrous for Danskar. He's looking like he's got a good result. Oh, and Smudge just completely missing his braking zone. Almost skidded right into the back of Big Metza. So this gap has come down, interestingly, as I was saying beforehand, between Metza and Smudge, as John has run away at the front, and now Alex is getting into this battle as well after that little skid from Smudge. Again, lucky to avoid the Renault in front of him and the wall, as it turned out. And Danskar is going to pit now, so that's a bad one for Danskar. Comfortable position, didn't need to be pushing, and well, just got his car in the wrong place, and there you go. This track can be unforgiving, and sadly it's cost him dear. Meanwhile, ILRGT must be cut a frustrated figure behind that Williams. Just cannot find a way by. This is golden for likes of Alex, Smudge, Metza, and John, should say, because if this ever gets to a point where we can start thinking about intermediates, these guys could take a bit of a gamble if this gap continues to grow, and they'll still emerge in ahead of this little battle here. But again, how much longer can Plays keep ILRGT behind them? Lap 10 of 35, 6.6 seconds the gap from Big Metza to John, as John's just looking like he's taking command of this race. And Plays and ILRGT go side by side through sector 2, and Jack is here as well. We'll go on board with Jack, he's got the best view of this. Yellow flag in sector 1. Not sure who that is. That's a good run for Jack though, out of turn 11. No, but not a move he thought about going for into turn 12. Door wasn't quite open for him. Is it open for Smudge heading into turn 1 again? Just a bit too far back. And Alex just sniffing around the outside, seeing what's there. He's going to be in a great position should something like that happen, where Smudge gets himself onto the grass, which is not far enough, as Rob facing in the wrong direction on the exit of turn 2. So good stuff happening throughout the field, even if John has run away with this one. Second, third and fourth so close together. Then you've got 5th, 6th and 7th as well in very close proximity. And 8th place not too far behind that either. So this is good stuff. Lap 11. Oh, you're always afraid that the race might spread out a bit in the wet, and it has to an extent. But even in that separation there are still great battles to be had. Is there a gap for Jack to go down? No. It was inviting, but it would have meant riding that white curb on the inside, and again that's a bit of a disaster recipe, as Danskar found out. These McLarens have not wanted to take the chicane very often, have they? The chicane is apparently optional today. I wonder if that will be looked at by the stewards afterwards. But again, at the front, oh, ILRGT, oh, he's got himself into a half spin. There's lap traffic in front of them as well. The judge is there, and that's allowed Jack to move ahead of ILRGT into 6th. So I wonder if there is the lap traffic had anything to do with that little accident there. Ooh, Smudge, he thought about it. This looks like a good opportunity for Alex though. He's had could have a much better exit. Is he? Oh, just gets off the track a bit, and a little hesitant to get on the throttle, back end stepping out. I thought he may have had a chance. Smudge's exit was not the best, but for now They're sitting as they are. Big Metza, 9 seconds. Like how John is just absolutely torn away. Oh, and smudges out of the race. You look away for 2 seconds and it all kicks off. So Smudge, that is a big one in the championship fight. I was saying at the beginning of the race, oh, I wonder if there's been contact up the hill between himself, possibly Alex or Big Metza. Maybe it was desync, maybe it was something side by side, because to see a car in that part of the track, usually a car doesn't lose it there on its own unless he's had a long accident heading out of turn 3 up the hill. So that's a big one. Saying at the beginning of this race that these are the kind of races you look back on, these kind of wet races that title races can be affected by, can be decided upon, and how pivotal will that moment be come the end of the season. Smudge, the closest title contender to John, is out, and with John 10 seconds in front of second place Big Metza, hard to imagine John throwing this one away from here. But we'll see. Of course, we're not even halfway through this race left. We're only lap 13 of 35. There's still 20 odd laps to go. Plenty of time for John to have his own accidents as well. So there's left it up to Alex then to have a crack at Big Metza. He's just 3/10 behind. Yellow flag in sector 3. Ant is heading into the pits. So this is a scheduled stop for Wets as he slams on the brakes to try and slow down in time, unlike Silverstone. And he does. What's going on to that car? Another set of full wets. So that shows you where this race is heading. Meanwhile, Jack almost pushing Plays along. I mean, look at this, Plays, and we've mentioned this many times with the wing damage, but 20 seconds behind Alex, so top 3 looking very, very comfortable at this stage. Again, just shows what track position does. I've no doubt that these guys, ILRGT and Jack, would be well and truly gone ahead of Plays if they had track position, but alas, this is Hungary. It's difficult to overtake and they do not have track position, so they are where they are. But surely, as the tyre wear begins to rack up now on these wets, you've seen a couple of guys come in to the pits recently for fresh wets. Surely then the aerodynamical disadvantage will come to the fore. And well, Jack isn't waiting to find out. He is going to make a stop. Oh, and Big Metza and Alex have gone down the inside into turn 2. Or turn 3 rather. I'm looking at an old map, I should say, because they count that little kink out of turn 1 as turn 2. So into turn... yeah, no, it is turn 3 still. So I'm getting confused. Anyways, Alex is into second now, and that has pushed Big Metza down to third. But luckily for Metza, he's got a long way between himself and Play. So should he feel the need to nurse his tyres, take them a little bit extra, he's well within his capabilities to do so. Here's the thing then, if these tyres are only doing 12-13 laps, can they get to the end from lap 12? With less fuel, you'd imagine you probably would. But you're just never sure, are you? You're just never sure in the wet. So I'm interested to see what the tyre wear is for some of these guys. I can only imagine for Jack, like his pit stop has come as an undercut attempt just to clear that McLaren, because I'm sure he like ILRGT is just absolutely sick of looking at the back of it, I'd imagine. Now, will these two follow suit then? Because ILRGT will be losing a ton of time now as well with this undercut that Jack has set in motion, and Plays is going to take the plunge into the pits. ILRGT will carry on. I think the overcut will help him against Plays. But will Plays change his wing now? That's the other question. Let's see. Yes, a new nose is going onto that car. So then, and look at that, Jack is already... I know obviously he's got to change the wing and all, but yeah, well and truly up the road. How far did he actually clear in the end? It takes 7 seconds to change the nose. Hasn't really gained a ton on this first lap, has he? He's only 7.6 seconds ahead, isn't he? 7 seconds. Yellow flag in sector 1. Oh, and Rob is off the track again. Heading out of turn 1, and his nose is missing, so gotta be careful because his teammate is right there as well. He just got by. Ant has just had it's been a tough race for Ant, hasn't it? He's in 12th, and points are, well, not slim, but a lot of them are looking like they're going to escape his grasp here today at Hungary. Meanwhile, Jacko down the inside of Fernandez into the chicane, moves up into that final points paying position, but of course he'll have to make another stop. His tyres are 9 laps old and they will not go to the end. So it has spread out a bit, sadly, and that is always the fear in a wet race, that it does spread out. We do have a few people yet to make their stops. Look at that, 25 seconds of the ILR is behind Big Metza. Look, you see the rain. Not sure you can see it on stream, but in 1080p and 60 frames, you can just see it absolutely pelting away. It is not letting up as ILR navigates sector 1 and nips by the lapped traffic. I think that could be the judge, who's running last now at this stage. Some beautiful shots. This would be a great result for ILR if he can hold on, but he's got his pit stop to make first, and I have a, well, I imagine Jack will jump him in the pits, so as he's wrestling to keep control of the car, and he can't keep control of the car, off the track it goes, and that has allowed Baza, again, who's on a similar strategy, 15 lap old wets. He has, of course, everyone's doing the one stop if they can manage to do so, but just allowing someone who's in his race window just getting a little bit closer. At the front, these guys are happy to go on still, and I kind of wonder if they're waiting until intermediates. I wonder if they've been told that light rain is coming soon, because otherwise, why wouldn't you pit now? Basically, you're well, I guess this is the halfway lap here at this stage, lap 17. I guess technically now we're at the halfway stage, so if they don't come in at the end of this lap, I wonder if they'll wait, if they are waiting for a lift in the conditions. Morris is in from 6th place, so his tyres, he will take no more, and it's another set of wets as Play sets the fastest lap of the race. So where is John then? We'll look at John, see if he comes into the pits this lap. I'd imagine between this lap or next lap we'll see a lot of these runners in. Again, the top 5 have not pitted yet. Fernandez also hasn't pitted yet on his strategy either, as far as I can tell. As Sean just struggling a bit there through that last corner, that second to last corner, and he is coming in now. A 3-second penalty for Jack, so just pushing his luck a bit too much with the track limits. Please get that out of my ears. I want to go to a broadcast camera, but it's not letting me do so. So anyways, John is in. Alex will have to continue on because his teammate's in the pits. Metza is carrying on. Wet tyres for John, no surprise really, and he'll emerge comfortably ahead of ILR, who is in 4th place. Will ILR and Baza pit this lap now? In comes ILR, but Baza will continue to tour around. I wonder if Baza could take maybe possibly an undercut could be on, but we do need to watch out now for ILR and Jack. And well, I mean, look at the amount of time Jack has gained just by pitching a few laps earlier. He's made up so much time. ILR's only leaving the pits now, so again, I think that is two things involved there. One, the undercut, obviously, but I think Jack is just quicker at this stage than ILR, and well, that's what happens. You gain a 10 second, 11 second, almost 12 second lead in 4 laps. So it'll be interesting to see if Jack's tyres can make it to the end of the race, but we shall see. He did pit a little early, it has to be said, and meanwhile just scraping the barrel for anything at the moment. Even this little scrap with Fernandez is only for 11th. Of course, Fernandez yet to pit, and Ant has, and can Ant make this move around the outside of turn 2? And he does. Much fresher tyres as Big Metza is into the pits. Alex continuing to go around, but Big Metza is in. Especially for yellow flag in sector 2. Wet tyres again on Metza, so I'm assuming by this that we will not see intermediates in this race, so a full wet race then. So that's the one way to come back. Now then, Baza is in the pit as well. Of course, Big Metza again, he's part of the front 3 where they just had an absolute day and a half between themselves and the rest of the field down from 4th, so of course he will pop out in P3. Now then, Baza, where's ILR? Just come across the finish line now. So ILR still keeps that P7. And can Morris Minor get in the action? No, he's just a bit too far behind Baza. So Baza emerges in P8. And looks like we have, unless there are some more pit stops we had, and I think Danskar will actually be forced to make another stop. So once Danskar makes his second stop at some point, the top bunch will be pretty much set, really, if they aren't already, as Ant Attack swiftly deals with Jacko and moves himself up now within a points paying position, but it is only P10 and he's a long way behind any further points, and his teammate has had one scrape too many and is out of the race as John sets the fastest lap of the race as his teammate comes into the pits for his one and only stop. Again, same strategy as everyone else. Wet tyres on that car now. Big Metza round in the final corner. He should clear him. Or will he? No, he's well and truly. He's actually well behind, to be fair. As the judge is out of the race as well. A safety car now would really shake this race up. But it doesn't look like we're going to get one. So then Big Metza emerges in 3rd, and John just 18 seconds, 19 seconds ahead of Alex in 2nd. So, oh, that's where the judge is. No safety car for that, apparently. Good stuff, Charlie Whiting. Good stuff, Cove Masters. It was nice when the safety car worked, but alas, no longer. I mean, at this stage, we've got Big Metza and Alex, and they're close enough on track. Other than that, it's kind of spread out. Again, this is what generally happens in wet races. The field, just through one way or another, does spread out. So we could be looking at this battle for next 14-15 laps, as John begins lap 21 of 35. That's all that has yeah, that's all that's passed. Big Metza sets the fastest lap of the race. So on his first actual flying lap, Big Metza closing in on Alex. Now we saw this in the first stint as well, where he was quicker than everyone basically, and then fell back quite quickly, and then fell back rapidly of John once John took the lead off of him. But he's putting the pressure on Alex. Is that just possibly Alex is needing to get his tyres up temperature? Here we go then. Big Metza, oh, thought the space was going to emerge for him heading up the hill into turn 4, but not on this occasion. Runs extremely wide off the track, so you can just see from this view how much kind of more comfortable he's feeling, and which parts of the track he's catching up significantly on Alex. He skids across the chicane there, hustling and harrying the back of that Haas. They ride through sector 2. He's got to be so careful not to clip his own front wing and desync Alex in the process. But you see he's so close. Oh, he has made contact, and Alex is into the wall. So there is contact threatening to happen through that on the exit of that corner, and there you go then. That was certainly an avoidable accident. Big Metza just got his rears in the wrong place, and Alex will be forced to pit. He could barely make the pit stop as it is, so that's massively disappointing for Alex. He was looking at such a solid result. An easy podium was there to be had, and now that has gone out the window. And Big Metza, I'll have to look at that one again, and I might have the time to as well, to be fair, with how this race is going. So nose change for Alex, and away he goes. ILRGT will get by. What has happened is the field has closed up quite significantly, because there was a big gap between the top 3, and then it was ILRGT in 4th. It was like 20 odd seconds. It has closed up that gap. Because of that, Alex has fallen back a bit into 8th place, just ahead of Morris. So I have to have a look at that again, because I want to see what exactly happened. Because I think Big Metza could have easily avoided that, but I just want to see if what part of his did John possibly move over, or did Alex move over slightly, or was it just purely Big Metza just getting too far up his rear? Anyways, it is lap 23 of 35, and that will certainly help John. So just looking at the replay again, yeah, it's a tough one to call, because the front tyres of Big Metza were at that point, and I think just moving across slightly. Was John coming back over to the right hand side, or Big Metza, sorry, or Alex? I'm getting everything mixed up. It's the first back for me too. No, I think Metza just does kind of go into him more so than Alex moving across to the right hand side to get ready for the race tonight. I do think that was Metza's fault, and it'll be interesting to see what the stewards say about that. But I just wanted a second look on that, because I've, again, well, because I can, because nothing else is really going on at the moment. 25 seconds the gap between Metza and John, yeah. So I mean, John can always come in for a pit stop if he wanted to at this stage. Upon the inters, see if they work. He could do it at this stage. We are looking at possibly Jack. Well, he will be I think he will get P3 eventually, because Dan's car I think will have to pit again. If he could take his tyres 26 laps, or 24 laps even, fair play. But I don't see it happening. But that will put Jack into third place. And ILR's going down the inside of Plays. Oh, a bit of argy-bargy stuff there. A very forceful move from ILR. I'm sure Plays won't appreciate that too much. And ILR finally has got some retribution and has moved by Plays, who was just, he somehow didn't end up in the wall or in the wrong direction there. Car drifting through that last turn, and Baza is going to be close to him very soon as well. So a great call from Jack to come in when he did. He's pulled out 15 seconds over ILR now. Those two were basically, they were there next to each other when they pitted, and it's worked out very well for Jack at the moment. First race as a reserve in ILR6, And he could end up walking away with a podium. So before that happened, I was going to look at the position change. So not a ton happening. Obviously, John and Metz are making some places. Danskar and Jack 3 apiece. Basil's done well with 4, and Plays to be fair as well. But Plays could have been a lot further up the road to be fair than he is now. Look at the gap to the leader. Danskar, it's got about 20 seconds between him and his teammate. That's not enough to make a pit stop and come out ahead. But he should be considerably quicker once he does put that final set of wets on. If indeed, again, I'd imagine he'll be pitching again at some point soon. But for now, there are a few cars getting closer to each other. Baza now is close to Plays now, closer to Plays, 7/10 now. So just catching slightly. His tyres are a little bit younger than Plays, and our Plays' wets just getting close to where they're feeling a little bit of burn. Jacko, 18 lap old wets, he's carried those a long way. I don't think anyone's carried wets further than that in this race. It's just been 15, 16 laps mostly for everyone else, so fair play. But of course Jacko is a long way off the pace, and imagine his tyres are part of the reason for that. And as I say, he comes into the pits and he's got wing damage as well, which also won't be helping his pace, so he will drop back, I believe, into 12th. I believe Daziek is a lap down. New front wing going on that Ferrari. And a 4-car battle is beginning to slightly emerge. Plays hasn't really been dropped by ILRGT. 1.1 seconds is the gap between those two. Then there's Baza and Alex then as well. Alex on much fresher tyres, so a bit of a 3-4 duel going on. Is that about to become 3, as Baza was well wide heading into turn 13 and almost frightened Alex. Alex almost frightened him off the road in a sense. Baza, difficult place to rejoin there at that speed compared to the speed Alex was taking into that corner, and Alex does move back up into 7th then, so that dispatches that car for Alex, and he can set off after Plays now. 30 seconds the gap between John and Met. It's just going up and up and up. He has just utterly dominated in these wet conditions. There's a long way to go, but this is the drive of a champion. And Plays is off the track, and Alex will nip by him as well, so 2 mistakes. Oh, Plays is again further off the track, stops himself from slamming into a wall. But again, 2 mistakes from Baza and Plays have gifted 2 positions for Alex. So overtaking is hard at Hungary, it's hard in the wet. His job has been made easier by those 2 errors right there. He can set off after ILRGT now for P5. Again, long way to go, but this is the drive of a champion right here from John. In the wet, just completely untouchable. Completely untouchable. We can have a look at the title implications as the race winds down, but there's still a few things to be decided yet, such as the battle for P5 between Alex and ILRGT. This race has dragged, so if you're still with us, thank you. It's a tough one, but there have been some good moments in this race for sure, and maybe a few more to be had for the end of this race. Danskar continuing to take those wets around 17 laps old, but here's the thing then, as ILRGT has succumbed, has he, to Alex, who will just drive around the outside, surely bare tyres. We have the inside for turn 3, but much better exit for ILRGT heading up the hill. Always going to be risky stuff. Who will give first? Good racing between these 2. I really thought there was going to be an absolute disastrous incident there. And ILRGT, has he kept that position? He has. Great driving from ILRGT there. I thought he may have lost that one. I was wondering if he'd back out heading up into turn 4. Neither of them backed out, to be fair. Both left each other plenty of space. Good racing between ILRGT and Alex, and they look to resume battle, I'm sure, down the next main straight, if not before. Oh, pardon me. Throat is dying after that. So, what this is also allowing is Baza to get close as well. Closer, 1.4 seconds. Well, let's see then. How is Alex exit this time around? It's a car drift a bit wide. Good run for ILRGT out of that corner as Prix comes into the pits. So his teammate, well, we'll get to that in a sec, as Alex tries. Oh, and Alex has lost the back end. Is that one scrap too many? He's lost his front wing. He's not lost a wheel. And Pop Morris Minor will go through. Oh, and Alex, yeah, he's really struggling to get the throttle down. Really struggling. Prix has come into the pits. His teammate, there's 6 laps or so remaining. His teammates carried his tyres 6 laps further than he had when. Oh, and there's an accident there. Between there's Jacko having his own accident somewhere. He's got no front wing, and Fernandez, I think that was actually, they were fighting for the same bit of track, and everyone is absolutely everywhere right now. Just this is ludicrous. I think there is coming together between Jacko and Fernandez. Now that Fernandez got himself pointing in the right direction. Where's Big Metza? What has happened there? Big Metza's had a mistake somewhere as well. Everyone is going off at this stage of the race, and that has allowed Danskar to slip into second place. So Danskar, I haven't been able to formulate any proper thoughts because everything's been kicking off at once. So Danskar has moved into second place ahead of Metza. What has happened there? Because Danskar surely hasn't just driven up behind him and past him with 19 lap old tyres. So Metza's had a half spin somewhere. That has put him down to third. And under pressure from Jack then in fourth. Alex has made his way back to the pits. He's going to be coming in. So let me try and get all that out again. Prix pitted. Prix was on 12 lap old tyres when he came in. His teammate is limping on 7 lap older tyres, 6 lap older tyres, and they are less than that to the end of the race. Could he have tried to get those to the end? Was there any way to get those to the end? Apparently not. Alex had a spin heading out of turn 1 trying to fight Big Metza in all that. Morris Minor pitted as that happened and lost no positions because Ant was right there as well, having his own accident as he is right now. So he lost nothing from making that pit stop. Prix made the pit stop, and Prix basically lost nothing by making that pit stop effectively. If he did, he lost 1 position, not more, because he ended up getting that position back from Alex. But while all that was happening, and else then, Jacko and Fernandez had sort of incident, and then Big Metza had a mistake somewhere, and that allowed Danskar to go through. And now Big Metza is under pressure from Jack for the final podium spot. So literally nothing happened in this race for about 10 minutes, and then everything happened in about 2 minutes after that. So I think that brings everything up to speed. Alex is out in 10th behind Ant. Can he? I think he'll close that gap down. 5.7 seconds with 6 laps to go, including the lap we're on. So on much fresher tyres. So let's see how that goes. The thing we also have to keep an eye out for is Danskar and a puncture. Now that he's eclipsed these 20 laps, he's taken them much further than Jacko took his wets. He took his 18 laps. He has committed at this stage. He could have pitched 10 odd laps ago and played it safe, but he's continued to stay out. He's got the gap for the time being. He's got Big Metza holding Jack up. Can his tyres survive? This would be a fantastic drive from Danskar if he could keep it where he is. because it looked like he was going to be leaving with a lot less points than he is now, and this would be huge for his title, just to keep his title alive. John would gain more points, but Danskar would be able to gain some back, particularly on Smudge and then on Ant as well. So we'll see how it happens. Again, Jack's not close enough to make a move on Metza. 8/10. He's just in that awkward territory. You're 8/10 behind, and you're not close enough to really slipstream properly, or get close enough by the end of the straight to make a move. Yeah, I mean, I said Alex would probably catch Ant. It's taken him a lap and a half basically to close 5 seconds. So that is how that goes. Let's see. Alex should be able to get this move done, heading out of the last corner down the main straight, if not beforehand. So let's see then how this unfolds. Lap 32 of 35. We are almost at this race end. It's taken a while in these full wet conditions, and this should be a breeze, no pun intended, for Alex. So Ant is going defensive, and well, straight line speed wasn't too bad. Has Alex overcooked that corner? Wrong button a little bit, but he'll have just bare traction, bare tyres, and nothing Ant can do to really fight that. And that moves Alex then into 9th and Ant down to 10th. A lot of missed opportunities this race, it has to be said. Ant is one of them, Alex another, Plays another, Smudge as well at this stage now as well. So what would this do for the championship at this stage? Well, it'll be a 4th win in a row for John. He'd go to 161 points. Smudge would not fall behind Ant, but Danskar would move on to 141 points if things stand as they are now. So John would open up, was it 25, 171, almost 30 points. Just quick math off the top of my head, not accurate, but you'd open close to, if not over, 30-point lead. And in the space of a few weeks, it has turned from 4-way fight to the one-man show. It'll be tough, given his current form, that John will be stopped. Plenty of races left, but 30 points is a lot to make up. Add to the fact he's already made up 20 odd points after that French Grand Prix he was behind, so he's already made a lot of points up as it is. This will complete basically a 50-point swing, basically from France, as Jack finally gets by Metza, who made a mistake there coming out of turn 12, and he's succumbed at last to the Ferrari as they begin lap 33. How are Danskar's tyres? He's got enough gap to limp home now, if the tyres will let him. Metza and Jack though. Metza trying to fight back. Got the inside line. Oh, a little bit of contact as Metza squeezes his way back past Jack and back into a podium spot. Although I have to say, I don't think Jack will be quite... He's not going to let him go that easily, will he? And I think he has the upper hand, but again, I have no doubt he would probably pull away from Metza if he could get by, but therein lies the problem, isn't it? Getting by. Lap 34 of 35, yellow flag sector 1. Not sure who that is. Still less than a second between these two. A good chunk of this second stint they've been... Well, it's been building up, hasn't it? It has been getting close. Look at Jack just trying to find any way around he can. If he gets a good run out of this last turn, give him a good chance. He's got one more opportunity after this lap as well. Of course, next lap being the final lap. He's got such a great run. He's got a lot of ERS. Time to put it to use. Down the inside. How late can he brake? Will Meta get the cut back? Oh, just gets on the curb a bit. Has to correct the steering. And Jack parks the car beautifully. And the invitation to lunge denied to Meta this time round. Jack placed his car very nicely indeed. And assuming no troubles heading up the hill this time, he's going to keep that P3. And unfortunately, it looks like second could be out of reach. But a puncture could still be on the cards for Danskar. He's taken those 24 laps. They must be absolutely dying. Fair play. Meanwhile, we've got Jacko and Fernandez again renewing rivalries for the pride of P11. Fernandez moves ahead of Jacko as John has begun the final lap of the race. Metza not letting this go though. Will he be able to, can he stay close enough out of the last corner to have one more look heading down to turn 1? Because once you get by turn 1, another chance possibly in turn 2, and up the hill to turn 4. After that, chances are running dry. As they begin their last lap of the race. Great run for Metza out of the final corner and down the main straight. He's going to take this podium back. Oh, there's not a lot of space being given. Jack will have to try it, the switch back. That looks good. Oh, very, very close to contact. But Jack lets him go. And is that it then for the podium fight? Is there any more to give? Meanwhile, a million miles up the road. Well, he lost, didn't take pole position. Lost the lead then to Metza. But once he got on top of it, this has been a champion's drive for John. There's a long way to go. But this will be one of the ones he can look back on and say, this was the one that took me there. John wins the Hungarian Grand Prix by an absolute landslide. 50 seconds is his gap to Danskar, and he thoroughly extends his championship lead at the front. Fantastic stuff from John. Just utterly dominant in the Hungarian range. No one had an answer once he got on top of it, and that was it. That was all she wrote at the front. Oh, it's so close between these two. So, oh, and Jack is into the one. Jack's out of the race. On the last lap, the battle for the podium. And that's it. Another incident that Metza found himself involved in. Not sure what to say about that one. As you know, Danskar is going to round the final corner. This has been a fantastic drive from Danskar. It really has been. Big result. 26 laps he went on those wets. And what is going on here? Oh, you cannot be serious. I hope ILR passes him, please. I think the stewards will have something to say about that. Metza finishes third, ILR finishes fourth. Baza will cross the line in 5th. Morris Minor rounds in the final corner in 6th place. Good drive from Morris, to be fair. And everyone else was a lap down. But that's a great drive from Danskar though, because he looked like he was not going to get much out of this race. And to get second out of that race in the end, getting those tyres to the end, I was convinced he'd have to pit again. But fair play, he made it last and salvaged something out of nothing, it looked like, for this race for him. And he moves back up to second in the standings. That's a great result for him. That's a very happy Haasman indeed. Just utterly dominating win. What was it, 49 seconds? Or did he get the round? Nice round 50 in the end. 52 seconds. John wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Danskar in second. Big Metza third, but I have a feeling that could be a whole lot less by the time the stewards are done with him. ILR fourth. Baza fifth. Morris sixth. Jack does finish seventh. He was on the lead lap on the last lap, so he does keep that position, at least on the results here. Plays in 8th, disappointing result for Plays, could have been so much more. Alex 9th, Ant in 10th, a rough race for Ant, and he's fallen well back in the championship fight. Fernandez 12th, 11th, Jacko 12th, Daziak 13th to round out the finishers. We lost Rob, Judge, crucially we lost Smudge in the title fight, who's in the title fight, not out of the title fight, and then Pro Opa also retired from this race as well. So that was an absolutely mad race. It was dull in parts, but it definitely picked up near the end there. And obviously, Jack and Metza come together. I'm sure there'll be some words about that afterwards. But anyways, that's going to do it for round number 12 of ILR6. I have to scoot off, so no podium interviews, I'm afraid. Although, I wonder what John would say about that. Absolutely just dominant win. That is one of the most dominant wins I've seen in a long time in any league race. So, congratulations to him. Congratulations to Danskar and Metza on the podium as well. For ILR, you can check out more races at 8 p.m. ILR 3 and 4 will be at it, at the same track. Hopefully you get some great action there too. So until next time.